Welcome to Music Corner, Symphonizing Project episode 30. I'm David Kolma, and today we're continuing with Louis Spohr's Symphony No. 5, the first movement, and in hour 2 we're continuing the bar-by-bar analysis of Beethoven 1. We started the recapitulation yesterday, and we'll keep going today. I'm supposed to compose some music. That's like the big sequence that happens right after the statement of the big theme loudly. And then we'll continue and see where we get to. So, now to Spohr. So, yesterday we looked at I went through very painstakingly the introduction, which to this C minor symphony starts in C major, ends up in E minor, after its first couple of statements of its basic tune, and then it winds its way back to a long dominant pedal, setting up triplets to set up a fast movement in 9/8. So big 3 beats to the bar music here. And so we'll just listen to a bit of the first theme, because we're going to go to this second area during the second theme near the end of the exposition, which has this cool metric shift while something very interesting harmonically happens. So here's the first theme for a little bit of that. So that's the beginning of the second theme right there. The and so I didn't have enough. I wanted to talk about this page right here, and to get back to that one, enough time I had for was to get from when the tune comes back a couple of pages later, the main big tune, a little thicker orchestrated. And this is here to basically the first ending. And so we end up in the expected key for a minor key symphony, the second theme. So for a minor key symphony, we expect the second theme to be in the relative major. So for a C minor symphony, that would take us to E flat major. And in fact it does. And so if I go back to where we're going to look is right here. So zooming in on the strings down here that I've reduced here. So we get a nice E flat pedal in the cellos and the basses They just literally do this over and over again. I can't isolate it because I wrote music on the staff above it. There's an E flat, E flat, E flat, E flat. So there's a tonic pedal in the cellos and basses. The pedal is also just being held in long notes, and if you were here with me yesterday, we looked at the in this first edition score here that was available on IMSLP. The horns here are located above the bassoons. So these are horns in E flats. So those are also E flats in the first and second horn there. So they're also in horns 1 and 2. So, but before that arrives, we get a couple of beat long pickup here in the first and second violins that this time is also being played in the flutes to an octave higher. And so the tune here does C, B flat, A flat, G. Ba da da dee da da. Ba da da da. And so when we get to the G, that's the downbeat, and that's part of an E flat chord. And so the accompanying line in the second violins does A flat, G, F, and then E flat. And so these two, and so those two line up with a tonic chord underneath here. And then there's also the important, the viola third line adds a D there and goes to E flat as well. So we get a sort of a 7 there, D, F, and A flat, leading into the tonic there. And then we continue down melodically. Do I want to go into this level of depth? Anyway, so as this happens, if we look over here, so there's our E flat major triad. Look over here, there's E flat 1. Okay, with this C and A flat, this pickup here, that gives us an A flat over E flat, so that's just a 4-6-4 chord. Let's a lot of Roman numerals over here today. So that's, I did not intend to do, all right, I made it italicized. I did not intend to do that. Okay, so we're gonna make that bigger. Okay, so we get our 1, and then this would be a 4-6-4. I wrote a 5-4. That's fun. I want 6-4, and then back to 1 on the next beat. This is all very standard, standard writing. So we got a pedal 6-4, and then the F, D, and A there. Those give us that 7 sonority once again. With the A flat. This is all above a pedal. And so this is the, just gonna call that D, call it, yeah, well, D, F, and A flat. Yeah, that's right. D diminished. Just a triad. So 7. And back to 1. And that's basically the pattern of this little set of galloping gestures here. So we're alternating between something that isn't E flat and E flat in each pickup to each beat. Okay, and so then we get new chords in measure 2. And so for this pickup here, F, A flat, and C, that's an F minor triad, which again goes with the E flat on the bottom, kind of making it 7 chords. So it's very common to see 2 over a tonic pedal. And then this is F, A flat, and D, which becomes B flat on the second beat here. So I'm going to call this whole thing B flat 7. So then we have our nice 5, 7 sonority here. Again, over the tonic pedal and back to 1. So nothing too complicated so far. And then we go back up. This is 4. And then he does something that's rather nice here. So we go back to our A flat over E flat. I wanted to write it that way. I have this available. Why am I not using it? So I have flats I can write. Let's drag that down slightly. And you are going to be E flat, and you're going to be B flat, and you're going to be E flat. We're just going to copy paste you from here on out. And you. And then I can do this. There we go. And what's nice here is that then he does this A flat, and in between it he does a 5 of A flat. So there's an E flat 7 here. So there's a 5 of 4 on this moment here. 5, 7 of 4 with the surrounding of 4, 6, 4s. So this is all just very nice and relaxed and just galloping along. So listen to this again. And so then something cool happens there. So it just, everything so far in the upper pitches has been either a note in the chord of our stepwise or holding on. We got some third leaps. But everything's in either the E flat chord or something happening on the pickup, or when the chord changes a couple of times here. Same basic pattern. And so he builds this new idea here, which is, so notice we're leaping much bigger this time. And so what's ending up happening here is, so this here is an E flat triad yet again. And let me throw in the 1 here. So, in this previous moment with the E flat, we got D, A flat, and F, and then this C flat and the D are a part of a D fully diminished 7th chord. So we get the fully diminished 7 with that C flat. D, F, A flat, C flat. And so we're going from a C that we can think of as, I don't know how I would analyze that. But what's nice about the line that he's doing here, so this is something that you can do very easily when you're composing, is you sort of write 2 separate lines and have one musician play them both, one instrument or group of instruments. So there's this line of C, C flat, B flat, and there's the line of F, D, E flat. And if they happen at the same time, we would get, and that's okay. But by having one person leap between the 2, you get this nice cool effect. And so we get this F, E, so the F, D, E flat, both the F and the D are a part of this. And we go from the D half diminished 7, which is the diatonic 7 chord. And then we get the fully diminished there. So if I did it this way, we could think of it, I could analyze it this way. And so it's 2 versions of our D diminished chord in a row. And so that's participating in between the 4 chord we left off at in the previous phrase. The previous little idea, I guess, would be the right word. So I can analyze it like this if I want. There we go. And then again, this is all still underneath the tonic pedal, right? And then that idea happens again, but it happens on 4, and we get the flutes, some of the woodwinds, to join in on what's happening. So if I analyze it up here with the notes that are in between, so we still have our tonic pedal going on, but instead of we do the same basic gesture, but we're going to A flat instead. We've been emphasizing 4 a lot in this tune. So the melody over here now, this is G, G, and then, so then I'm just going to write it the same way. So this is G, B flat, G flat, F flat, F flat, and then E flat. And the lower voice here is G and A flat. So this matches this voice. It's still got a minor third down and a half step up, minor third down and half step up. We still get the half step here, but instead of doing F here, because that would go from F and B flat, signal some kind of they signal a different chord here. So what does he have going? He's got G, D flat, B flat, and B flat, and G. So he wants G as the root. So he doesn't want to he's decided not to signal the half diminished time this time. Also, the E flat can be also thought of as a part of the E flat major chord, which the F cannot. And so that's a nice kind of compromise between the two. And so we basically do the same thing, but it's this is all basically an E7, E flat 7, E flat dominant 9, minor 9, dominant minor 9, going to 4 A flat. So we get a version of this because the E flat in the bass is also part of the can be part of the chord this time. It's not a dissonant sonority. So there's this 5, 7, and then we'll do, oh, I don't want that one. Can I do that one? I can. We'll add, oh, I didn't want to do that. Can I do that? Nope. Okay, can I get the flat to be up high? I should be able to get a high, oh, okay, I needed that. And then let's do one more. Having to cheat because I don't know how to do this. Say that if you like. So that signals the F flat. Okay, so then we move to 4 a little bit. So I'm going to keep analyzing this section. There's going to be a lot of work to do later in the other part. But anyway, you get the idea. This is the basic idea here of the second theme. So then, what we really want is the next page. So we get all this chromaticism here in this very loud, everybody's playing. We're going against we're starting to group notes different than the bar line. So we do, again, that's ending on 4 chord, that's an A flat major triad. And then we do on beats 2 and 3, 2 chords. We do that 2 measures in a row, and then we just do every other beat. And then we realign on 1 there. We realign on the downbeat here. And so this moment right here, the big honkin' chord, the arrival chord. This is E flat over B flat. So this is our cadential 6/4 chord. Let me go grab one of these things. So we get that's the cadential 6/4. And then this gives us that's our, so then we get our big 5. This is a 5. We get a dominant 9th accented neighbor tone here. Happens twice. That's also an A flat in there, so we got a 5/7. So if you want to call it a 9th chord, that's fine with me. So so those are both B flat chords, and then we go somewhere else, which we're going to come back to. But let's go backwards from here. So leading into our cadential 6/4, we have F sharp, A, and E flat, and C. So this is a 7 of 5. 7, 4, 3. So this is F sharp. Ooh, cool. F sharp diminished 7. The previous beat is a B, D, F. Sorry, I needed one more piece of information over here. Now, something I've just noticed, I hadn't really thought of it this way before, but there are 2 ways of using fully diminished 7th chords. One of them is you take 7 and it resolves to 1 or something like this. That's the standard resolution. So if I did that so we're in E flat, so that would be D, F to A flat and C flat. And the C flat would go to B flat, the A flat would go to G, the F would go up to G, and the D would go up to E flat. And this would be, so in E flat major. But a secondary resolution of these things is the common tone resolution. And so the common tone diminished 7th chord going to 1 for E flat would be, it would have an E flat on the bottom, so it would be a 4/2 chord really. And then we would build, this would be the 7th of the chord. So the chord above this would be F sharp, A, and C, and they would each go up, the notes would all go up a half step. Well, one of them would go up a minor third, which would be this, but the other 2 would move up a half step. So it's the difference between this chord going to here and this chord going to there. And I've just noticed, looking at this, that what Spohr is doing, this very common progression of 7 diminished 4/3 to cadential 6/4, the 7 diminished 4/3 of 5 to cadential 6/4, because this is, this is a chord that has a dominant function and is just an elaboration of the coming 5/7 chord, is that this pattern here matches this over here. It's all the same notes. It's an F sharp fully diminished 7th chord. Usually, but we just have a different note on the bottom here. So the C going to B flat, going to B flat. Then we have E flat and F sharp and A. And so we get a common tone. Like, to go over to the B flat chord, the E flat would go down to D, and then the F sharp would go up to, would move, what would be the thing? 7 of 5. Oh, it's not a 7 of 5. It's not a 7 of 5 at all. I'm just analyzing it wrong. Yay! How joyful. The no, it's just a common tone diminished. So, what would 7 of 5 be? It'd be an A diminished. Oh, okay, yeah. This isn't wrong. I'm not wrong. So 7 of 5 would be going to B flat. Would be an A, C, E flat, G flat chord. Yeah, instead of F sharp. And so the G flat here would go down to F, and the A would go up to B flat. But by inserting the cadential 6/4 in between, we keep the E flat going. We take the G flat, which is we've called F sharp instead. And the F sharp here resolves up to G before it steps down to the F over here. And the A goes up to B flat, as expected. So the two resolutions to B flat still happen, but we get this chord in between. And so instead of calling this a G flat going up to G back down to F, we call it an F sharp. And then that makes it make more sense as a 7 of, this is a 7 of 3. So instead of being a 7 diminished, would be 7 diminished 6/5 of 5. It comes out as a 7 diminished 4/3 of 3, which is a common tone diminished chord. So they're basically the same thing, going to a cadential 6/4. It's kind of fun. I hadn't thought of it like that before, but it's true. So basically meaning they're the same harmony. It's just what happens in between. So this insertion of a cadential 6/4 between 7 of 5 and 5 creates a common tone diminished chord, becomes a thing because of this wanting to use both of them, the 7 of 5 and the common tone diminished harmony. That's fun. I like that. So this technically would be a 7/6/5 because it's an A diminished 7th chord. So we're going to do, nope, okay, will that one work? Yeah. It's fun. So common tone diminished going to cadential 6/4. That's new information to me. So going back one chord from there, this is our B diminished. This is a B diminished 7. So we're going to do a bunch of diminished 7th chords in a row. Notice that that chord would go to C, and it does in the bass, but we move to a new diminished 7th chord above this. So does this have a Roman numeral? Be 7 of 6. Yeah. And then the previous chord to that is our F sharp diminished again. So this one over A. And the previous beat is that same chord. And then this one over here is a C sharp diminished over G. So as I've said in a previous episode of this, by using diminished 7th chords this way, you get you can plane have everybody move by half step between two chords a half step away, but also do whole step bass motion beneath them. And so we're getting to this. This is also a C sharp diminished here, and then the previous beat is B diminished yet again. B diminished over F. So this is enabling, we get everybody moving in the upper voices by half step as required by resolution of things. And people leap when necessary, but you can have because we're just planing up the 7th chord, really. So we're just a series of 7 chords in a row, and that enables whole step ascent in the bass. So F to G, and then G to A, and then A to B, and then we can do B to C, because half step motion is available as well. And so this has enabled him to use 3 of the 4. How many diminished 7 chords are there? There are 4. So he's used 3 of them. So the B one, the C sharp one, the F sharp one, and then B again, and back to the F sharp to get to B flat. So it enables him to have an entire period of extremely dissonant music, and it still moves forward. And so then we're going to do something similar now. So this is the cool thing that he does something, I believe this happens in Beethoven. I have a Beethoven score on my stand over there. It's in this one, yeah. So I've been studying Beethoven 3 recently, and Beethoven takes, in the 3rd symphony during the scherzo movement, he's been going along playing, this is the big tune in this one is, and so he works his way up, and in the return of the scherzo after the trio, he winds up pretty far. And then the second time that happens, instead of doing ba-ba-dee, ba-beep, beep-bum, beep-bum, beep-ba-dum. And so instead of doing this 3 thing, he does in the same amount of time, he moves into duple divisions, going bum beep beep bum beep bum beep bum bum, and then goes back into 3. So that keeping the big beat the same, the bit measure beat the same, is a thing that happens in Beethoven 3. And so he's using that technique of we're doing the same basic thing as before, but we're going to do a different rhythmic shift, and we're going to go somewhere else harmonically. And there we get our big cadence. So this is 1 right here. This is the arrival on 1 that we avoided the first time. So this 1, and is there anybody playing chords? There are people playing chords, but there's a 5/7 underneath this. So there's like some sort of 5 here. Yeah, I needed to do it this way. What? Why are you doing that? Did I not? Oh, I did it the wrong way. So many different ways of doing text in a software program. Every way is possible here. Every way is possible. Okay, so there's that. And then we're going to do this. We're just going to call this blasted thing 5 for right now. And this is this arrival right here is the cadential 6/4 that we heard the first time. Like after all the big things. So there's E flat, G, B flat. And then here, this is still cadential 6/4. That's a G flat, A. That's kind of fun. What is that? A, It's an A diminished triad. So he inserts a 7 of 5 after it. So there's a, and that's 5, 7 right after that. So there's just a regular 7 happens right there. So this is what this sounds like. So how the heck does he get there, though? Because this thing is bonkers. Look at all the flats and everything. So we'll come from this direction. So here was the 5. Here's the previous cadenza 6/4. So he doesn't give you the cadence right there. So this is a deceptive resolution here of that moment. Need to zoom back in. So we get, this is a G dominant 7 as a deceptive resolution. So that is 5. I'm sorry, it's over a B. So this is a 5, 6, 5 of what would that be? G. This is 5, 6, 5, 6. So this is, instead of giving us 6, he gives us the chord 2, 6. Which means that the next moment should be a 6 chord, and in fact is a C minor triad. So this is the 6. So he's delaying the 6 once time. So this happens in Mozart all the time. Of you disturb the cadence. Usually what happens is that the B natural happens before the downbeat, and then the C would happen on the downbeat. But so he's doing it. He shifts the secondary function chord leading to 6 in the deceptive moment here. He has it happen on the beat rather than as a pickup. Yeah, so there's the 5 to 6. And then what's this? So this is just B, F, B and F and D. So this is B, D, and F. So that's what? B diminished over D. And then this is also C minor, but with E flat on the bottom. So this is 6 again. So this B diminished chord is just a 7 of 6. 7 diminished, 6 of 6. And then we have E diminished. So we're using diminished chords again, but they're in between resolutions. So this one should go to an F minor triad, and it does. That one's in root position, so F minor in our key is 2. 6 going to 2 is pretty straightforward. That one's in root position. I'm going to drag that down. Actually, I can solve the problem by doing that. Yep. Okay, then we have, this is E diminished again, but with G on the bottom. And so that one should go to F minor. So we do F minor in first inversion. So notice the pattern here of we went to C in root position, and then we went to C in first inversion. Now we're going to F in root position and in first inversion. So he's setting up a sequence here. Root position, first inversion, then root position, and then first inversion. Are we going to keep doing that? Well, let's see. Here's F sharp diminished over A yet again. And so that should go to a G chord, but instead that goes to E flat. And so this is the common tone diminished that we saw before, and this is our E flat. This is a 1 chord, 1, 6, 4. So that's, again, we're still following our progression because this is like a passing 6, 4. And now we're going to do something different because that all moves up a half step. So instead of the B flat sticking around on the bottom, we get an A flat minor chord, A flat minor over C flat. What in the world would that be? That's minor. I don't want that to happen. Okay. So that, my friend, is a minor 4-6. So we've pivoted into E flat minor. And now we get an A diminished triad over C. And then that moves to E flat minor over B flat. Nope. Oh my. Oh, I hid everything. That's what happened. That's amazing. I didn't want to hide everything. I wanted to do that so we could see it. So this is a minor 1-6-4. And so this is functioning like a common tone diminished to minor. Does that happen? I'm not used to that. Either way, goes back to A diminished, now in root position. And now we get D diminished over A flat. And that goes to E flat minor now with G flat on the bottom. So we're just doing stuff in between. So that's 7 going to 1-6 in E flat minor. And then we get a G flat G flat dominant 7th chord. A G flat 7. What in the world is that doing there? And it's over F flat, everyone's favorite note. So that's the 7 of D flat. D flat in our key would be the flat 7 chord. Okay, moving back. I'm sorry. It goes to C flat, excuse me. And C flat is our 6. So in our key now, this is the diatonic 6 for E flat minor. So this is C flat over C flat major over E flat. And then there's another G flat. Is there an E7? Yeah, the 7's up here. F flat's up there. So we get another G flat 7, but this time over D flat. So that's 5. That's 5/4/3 of flat 6. And then we get flat 6 as a root position triad. So that's this crazy ass thing that he's done here. And then the last beat here is A flat C, A flat C flat, A natural C flat, E flat, and G flat. And that is our good friend German augmented 6. Yeah, because it's lay, do, may, and fi. So this is our German 6 in our key, which goes to cadential 6/4. What you got down there? So notice that all of these chords, he starts out in a major key, and he's using a bunch of diminished triads to move chromatically in the bass. So B flat to B natural to C. Well, we're just moving up the scale completely. B to C to D to E flat, and then to E natural to F to G to A flat. Sorry, G to A flat to A natural to B flat to C natural. Go down to B flat, A flat, G flat, F flat, E flat, D flat, C flat. And then that C flat becomes lay to so to B flat. So we never left E flat as a key, but we flipped to the minor. and then we slam right back into E flat major with the cadential 6/4 chord. And this is all just closing material on top of an E flat dominant pedal, an E flat pedal, excuse me, the tonic pedal again. This is the tonic pedal in our key. So let's take a listen to all of this now. What I want you to notice this time is that, so it's this cadential phrase, the ending phrase here is a repetition that's built into the basic way to end a big section in a sonata form movement that is very common in Mozart. Is you wind up to a big cadential 6/4, you're going to set up a cadence, and then you do a deceptive resolution, and then you try again, and you do the same basic idea, but you elaborate it some. And so this is more intense because you're going to have to approach the cadence one more time. So you're building up more energy. And so this is also taken from the basic Beethoven technique of we're doing something rhythmically displaced and offset, playing with the rhythm of the meter here. So we've been in a big 3 that's with 3 notes per bar. It's basically triplets, one enda, 2 enda, 3 enda. And so the first time, after setting up this ba-dum, 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 ba-dum rhythm, we just get notes on beats 2 and 3, rest, 2, 3, rest, 2, rest, 1, rest, 3, 1, and then that's setting up the cadence, but we avoid the cadence with the secondary function to 6, and then we do a bunch of secondary function diminished triads. These were all diminished triads over here before, but now the rhythmic displacement happens this way, where we're doing the rhythm of all the big chords happen on the beat that they start at least, and then we do da-da, da-da, da-da. We start doing eighth notes and alternating. So this is the third part of beat 2 to 3, and then the second part to the third. So now the chords happen 1 and then the last eighth note of the measure. And then now we emphasize them rhythmically, the dissonant chords. So there's a long one on the downbeat of this 3. Now that we're making duple divisions, so everything's a little bit slower in terms of we've gone from da-ba-da-da-ba-da-da-ba-da to da-da-da-da-da-da rhythm. And so the resolution is on beat 2, and then there's a diminished chord on the and of 2, and then there's a resolution on 3. We get another, that's resolution on 3, and then we get another consonant chord on the and of 3, and then we start, this next measure is everything is, so diminished to resolution, diminished to resolution, and then we get 2 more chords, and this is, okay, then we emphasize that one and that. So he's kind of playing with the rhythm there. And so it arrives onto beat 2, and then beat 3 is the German 6 that pushes us back into 9/8, and the opening, this idea which happened for the first time. So listen for how the rhythmic displacement plays with his harmonic ideas here. So here's from the tune. Just noticing that I left out the trombones at the very important moment here. Dum-bum. Because they play in the last, they play on the very end of this thing. So let's see. Let's see what that sounds like. We want that and a rest. Oh, they stayed in the big measure, the big meter. That's fine. Okay. So we get C flat. Bass trombone, tenor trombone is E flats. Alto trombone has an alto clef, G flats to G natural. Okay, I'm gonna make them staccato like everybody else. We want this to be forte. It's a small thing, but it makes a difference. Okay, so that's cool. So anything else that I've missed here? The melody is also just moving up. So there's E, F, F sharp, G, A flat, A natural, B flat, C. So that's a whole step there. D, E flat, and then they do an arpeggio and stepwise. That's cool. I don't know, I really like this passage. Let's see here. So let's just see how he gets out of this. So I didn't analyze the in-between here. So let's see what the in-between is. We'll look up at the woodwind parts this time because there's more. Well, it's just those 4 lines. There's E flats here. View. Zoom in. Okay, so we do in fact have A flat stuff. There's still an E flat pedal going on, so this is 1. This is that's a 7-ish kind of thing. It's really more of a common tone diminished kind of gesture. This is still 1. That's a 7. And that's 1 again. And then that is also that's a 7 of 6. So we're moving from 4 through 1 to 6. Yep. And then this is A diminished going to B flat, so that's 7 of 5 to 5. And then that goes 7 of 4 to 4. That's kind of cool. So just getting back, we get back to 4 in the end. I really like that push to flat 6. That's really nice. And then a German 6 can get you out of it. That's really quite nice. Because in the end, the C flat is like it's a C flat dominant 7th chord. So we did a G flat dominant 7th to tonicize C flat, and G flat 7, C flat 7 would be the thing to push us another way around the circle of fifths. But instead, he uses it a German 6 to take us back to E flat instead of C flat. That's really quite. F flat would be the other choice. Would be E. Yeah. Okay. So is anything else that I wanted to discuss about this? Nope. Okay. Well, then we're going to go back to the front of the exposition here and see what's happening in the first theme, because we got plenty of time. Plenty of time. So we did a bunch of stuff to emphasize we're getting to C minor. Okay, so that's the first one. So we got here a C minor arrival, And then this is just B diminished over D. I'm going to do this again. Okay. Are there any G's here? Nope. And we go to C minor over E. So this is where we're getting that idea from, of moving up the, I mean, it's a very standard technique, but having the bass move up by half step between two versions of a minor triad with a diminished in between. So that's 7 diminished 6 going to 1 6, and then we have, amazingly enough, E diminished over F, E diminished, fully diminished, going to F minor. And so that's exactly the thing that happens in that section I just looked at near the end of the exposition. And so when the big cadence happens, he's using this technique again. Okay, so does that mean that we go E diminished to F minor, but in first inversion in the next two chords? In fact, it does. The E, excuse me. Oh, why did it do that? Oh, okay, that's fine. So this is F minor over A flat. This is all really standard voice leading here. It's really quite nice. That's why it works. So we slowly go to F minor. Notice that gives him a nice scalar thing in the bass. C, D, E flat, E natural, F, G, A flat, going all the way up a sixth. And then we slam on an F minor chord really loud again. And we're going to do the same basic idea. That's the cello's leaping down an octave. And so this here is a, that's fascinating. What is that? So it's an that's A major up there, but we got an F down below. Fascinating. An A major chord over F. I think that's just a pedal. But anyway, D minor, that's where an A major chord would go. It's D minor over F. So that's 2. Like, so before we went from 1 to 4, 1 to 4 to 2, and we're doing that again here. And so then this, again, this is a C diminished over E. So that's a 6 of, that's a 7 diminished 6 of 2. But here we move up to a B fully diminished 7 over F. So we don't go back to our D minor. We move to a diminished triad a half step over. And then that becomes an F sharp fully diminished 7 again. So this doing the doing the diminished stuff in a row is a thing that he's already set up, and this goes to G. So that's 5. Let me see if this C sharp, G, and E. Anybody else over here? C sharp, A sharp. There's A sharps. Aha! So that becomes A sharp. I want to do A sharp that way. Diminished over E. Right, so that's the cool part. So following his pattern, so we went from 1 to 1 6 to 4 to 4 6 to 4 again, and then we went to 2 6. And instead, because we're just having F repeat a bunch of times because we want to get to G, and we want F sharp here. So we're just getting from 2 6 to this. He implies that he's going to go from D minor. This is implying a B arrival, which B is 2. And doing a, no, it's not, it's 7. And so doing, this is our good friend, 7 diminished. Yeah. Oh, okay, that's the wrong system. Did I do Roman numerals anywhere before this? No, I didn't. Okay. So I'll write it over. Let's do. Where'd it go? There it is. Okay, I'm going to slide that over. So, in the key of C minor, an A sharp diminished 7th chord is a 7 of diminished 7. This is the thing that the textbooks say you can't do. But this is exactly what he does. Because this is 7, and he goes to 5 of 7 of 5. And that's works out just fine. I got no problems with that. It's just we're just planing second inversion 7th chord up. Everybody moves up a half step. That's really nice. It's got no problems. So this thing that the textbooks say that they don't want to teach you this, he does one right there. And this is from the 1830s. So congratulations, you can do 7 of 7. There you go. So it's just it's a standard technique, by the way, in lots of other circumstances, to just take a diminished triad in this, especially like if this was, I don't know, Paris Grand Opera or Meyerbeer or something. You just take a 7th chord, everybody go up a half step. I can't do one off the top of my head, apparently. Oh, that's a cool chord, not the one I wanted. And so just having everybody move up in the same amount, in the same direction, with fully diminished 7th chords, standard 19th century technique, especially for storms or something in an opera. So go right ahead. So as it continues, well, I've had enough time. So I'm going to be back in a couple of minutes, and we're going to look at Beethoven 1 again. We're now in the recapitulation of Beethoven, the first movement of his first symphony. I'll be back in a couple of minutes. Hello again. So, last time I had just entered all of this music of the beginning of the recapitulation of the first movement. In the reduction, it sounds like this. This is the previous four measures. Anyway, so the task for today is for me to do a little bit more explanation of what Beethoven is doing in this woodwind whole note section that goes into half notes with the scales, and then is to write something that is using this particular technique. So we're going to listen to this same passage actually in the big score here. So here's the recapitulation beginning. Here's the big chords right before that. We just got to the second theme in the music there. So Beethoven is taking the harmonic pattern of this music in the recapitulation is following the exposition closely at first. So we do C major over 4 bars. Well, there's the 4 measures of the opening idea, which then in measure 5 of this idea, we get a C major chord in the winds, which is right here. And then in measure 6 is an A dominant 7th chord, that's 5 of 2 in the winds. And we in fact get that too. Here's the C major chord. Here's the A7 chord. And we get the pickup. And then we do the same thing again. So there's 4 bars. This is, we'll call it measures 7, 8, 9, 10. Measures 7 through 10 are D minor. And we get that. And so measure 11 of this pattern is the D minor in winds, and measure 12, what happened the first time in the exposition, well, so here it becomes a C7 chord. In the exposition, it was a D half diminished. I always hit the wrong button down there. D half diminished 7 over C. And that D half diminished 7 over C pushed to a G chord, and we did an extended version of a G chord that drove us to a cadence and then started the transition. What Beethoven does instead is that this here turns into the transition. That he elides the recapitulation first theme into the transition. It becomes the transition. The way that the what's their faces would, not that, but this, they call it P becoming TR with that kind of fancy arrow looking thing. So And then this is taking the place of the, let me pull it open over here. That's taking place of this whole section. So let's go back. So the very first time this all happened, it was this. So everything so far is matched. Now is where the matching stops. Oh, why did it do that on me? Should have just started. Anyway. So here's the D minor chord again. So none of this happens again. None of this happens again. Instead, we get this from the D minor chord. We get this. And this music right here from this G, that's playing the same role that the music that I stopped at did a while back. Okay, let's give me that there. So it's playing the same role as this did in the exposition from here. Because both places is where we reach a dominant pedal on G. So those are playing the same role. So it's this new section of going around the circle of fifths is what's notable. So we start with, so there's that D minor chord, and then we did C7, which goes to F. So then this is the pattern that gets set up. C7 goes to F, then D7 goes to G. So we've gone up a step. Then we go up another step in the key, E7, which gives us A minor. Notice that these are diatonic chords, 4 to 5 to 6. And now Beethoven decides to avoid that 7, fully diminished 7 of 7, doing a 5 of 7, he sidesteps it by doing 5 of flat 7, the one we would get from the minor key. And so he's able to sidestep that and then he continues up to C7, G7 to C, that's 1. And then he does, amazingly enough, A7 to D minor, which is the thing that happened earlier in the recapitulation. This move from this A7 to D right here. So that was our goal chord. And since we got back to D minor, I'll shove it over one here. So 2, and there's a D minor from much earlier. So there's the A7 from much earlier. And so we've gone back around. So notice we're skipping the 3, and Beethoven does in fact skip the 3 chord this time round. So he goes back to A7 from C. Instead of going from A7 to D minor, instead of then going from B7 to E minor, he skips over that at all, and he goes back to C7 over to F, it's 4. And then D7, and then G, that 5, this is that dominant pedal moment. And so we've gone around, we go around it once, and then we do sort of a half rotation, as it were, of the same harmonic field. And so I think in the end, there are two reasons why he's chosen F7 over B flat here, rather than to say to do F sharp 7 going to B diminished, or B diminished, is that he wants a triad, right? And B major would sound really, those would be a lot of sharps. But F7 fits with the F major triads that had happened earlier. And so it's not that far to just add one more flat, the E flat and the B flat, for that to happen. So it's a smoother ride to take this move towards the flats than it is to do this big leap towards the sharps. So I think that's why that happens. Anyway, so there's that. So we're just going around that circle. And then notice that every time that we get one of these scalar things, they do exactly what they've done every other time, which is go from the 5th scale degree to the 1st scale degree in that key. So D, and we had in C major 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. That's all diatonic. G, F, E, D, C. And then for D minor, we would just have A, G, F, E, D. And that's what we get. And then for this F option, we would need B flats with our C, B flat, A, G, F. And then it waits 2 beats the next time we get one. So there's F, and so then we expect one on G, which we do get. D down to G, all white notes. And then for A, all white notes starting on E. And then now for this B flat one, we need F, E flat, and B flat. Then we do C again. So the C, this example here, this is mimicking like the very opening of the development here. I'm sorry, the recapitulation. We did G down to C. So this is, the G7 is like the G7 right before the recapitulation. So then we do the A's down to D again, we do the C's down to F again, we do the A's down to D, and now we add an extra one. So we didn't ever do one going into C7, but he doubles them to help drive the energy even further. And so we need A down to D for D minor here, right? Because it's during this F chord, but it's during a D7 chord now. And so then we get so we get a big scale from A down to G, all in our key. And that's really nice. So just take a listen to all this happening one more time. We'll go all the way to the, so from the G7 here. So then the last question about this is, where does he get this idea of doing this scale, this sequence going up a step of a dominant 7th chord going to a triad? And the answer is he gets it from the transition the first time. And so if we go back all the way back to that section, this is in development. Okay, here we go. That's right. It's right over here. So this is here's the beginning of the transition. It's this passage right here. So notice here we did the first time, so we're starting on C, and we're going to go up to D, and we get, that's the 5 and the 7 of D, which would be the first 2 bottom notes of a 5-7 chord of D. And so that gets repeated up a step for E, so he does the E minor here. So that's 5 of E to E, and then it gets telescoped here, but we still get the pattern. So the E, the C, E, F, the C, E, F here goes to F. So it's 5 to F. And then we just do 5 to G. So, do. And then here, that's a tritone because he wants to stay diatonic. So he doesn't do the B flat thing because he's not harmonizing these. He's just going up fourths in his scale. Up fourth, down third, up a fourth, up down. And we end up on C. And then we do this gesture to emphasize G again. So, and that's the drive to G there. So he's doing it. He's doing the same idea, but in a different way. So that's how you go about recomposing music to make it sound different, but use a similar technique to get new things to basically get the same thing to happen. All we're trying to do is just drive to the dominant in C major. Why am I getting lost here? What is all of that? That's very elaborate. Okay. So we're going to move on. So now I'm going to write some music like this. So, okay. So we're going to do, this is an ascending seconds sequence. That is, we're doing 5, 7 of X, and X goes up a step. And then, if we're going to use a math sort of thing as X plus a second. So this would be stuff like 5 of X to X, and then 5 of X to X plus a second, So that would be something like 5 of C goes to C, and then 5 of D goes to D, and so on. All right. So, but we start the sequence on 5 of 4, and then we go through 4, 5, minor 6, flat 7, 1, 2, and then back to 4, and then 5. Was that it? Yeah. 2, 4, and then that's when it breaks off. Yeah. Well, it doesn't really. It's a different pattern. 5, 1, 5. Yeah, it's fine. It does and goes to 5. That's it. That's the pattern. Okay, let's write something like this. We'll go back to the D major we've done before, and we've been in 3, 4 in that time. Let's see, I have the tempo over here. So, what did I do the first time when I did this a long time ago? Let's see, I've written bum ba da dee. That looks like stuff from the, yeah. Yeah, there was this stuff. So then I wrote this. base it on that specific music, but that's fine. Ooh, interesting. Didn't know that I could do that. All right. So we're in D. So I want to write, we're getting to our E minor chord here. Actually, I'm not going to do the same music, but I'm going to just copy this over so that I have some reference point. So it's this I want from right here, and then the D from here all the way to there. Got a faster tempo, which works for me. No, it doesn't. So what we want here instead is a D7. Kind of sound cool. Did I really do an augmented interval there? Oh, okay, it's this pattern here. So this has to happen. I'm revoicing this so that the voice leading works. Did I go to the wrong key? I went up a third somehow. Well, that... screw this then. Okay. Should have gone up a second. There we go. That makes more sense. So this is 5. Yeah, there it is. So, whole notes first 2, then on the resolution of this chord, so this one is going to have a different chord on the bottom here, so this will be 5. I have the next one. And this should be B minor. And then this one is going to be the one that goes to C natural. changed it to diatonic, that's why. Oh, that's why. There needs to be an F natural. That's what sounded weird. So then this should have been fine the way it was. Go up one more. This one is going to go up a diatonic second. I could have just pushed everything up one. That's 2. Now we go back to our 4 chord. Alright, so this would be the equivalent. Something's odd about this. Oh, I need D sharp there. There we go. Yeah. Yeah, it'll work. Okay. So what I've done is I've taken the music I wrote a long time ago to match the beginning of the exposition, and I just copy pasted it. I haven't made any changes. So we start in D. We do the same progression in D major that Beethoven does in C. We go to E. We do the same thing, and so then Beethoven does the same bass movement from his D minor chord to the D minor over C, the D half diminished over C. But he takes a C7 there, so I've used a D7 here for my key, and I've gone through the same progression Beethoven did. So 5 of 4 to 5 of 5 to 5 of 6 to 5 of flat 7 to 5 of 1 to 5 of 2. Then this is 5 to 4 and 5 to 5, and that's the pedal. And then I've just used the rhythm that I had used before, the bump a bump 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 a bump bump. And this, I've just alternated these measures like Beethoven does with the scales, just filling out the entire measure. And when the harmonic rhythm is sped up, instead of going from whole notes to half notes, I'm going from dotted quarter notes to halves versus quarters. So the secondary dominant chord happens on beat 3. And I just let the voice leading follow, because Beethoven does some more complicated stuff in the inner voices here, but the basic gist is that D to E to F sharp to G sharp to A to B flat to B to C to C sharp to D to E to F to F sharp. It's just a constant scale up, And so I'm just letting that happen because I'm not worrying about how I would voice it. So it's just copy paste it basically. I made some small adjustments. Where was it? It was over here somewhere. But otherwise we're good. So just listen to the series, the sequence basically. There we go. And there'd be more stuff, but it's not necessary right now. Okay, let's see, what else is there to do? Plenty. So, the other thing, so what we want to do now is compare this section of music to the opening in terms of measure numbers here. So that they have, the Hepikowski and Darcy have a fancy term for the, when they match, they call it the crux. So in terms of measure lengths here. So if we go back to the beginning, so this is measure 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So in the exposition, P goes from 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. So it's through 30 basically. It's through 31 really. And then TR starts in measure 31. There's an elision. So that's 31. I'm going to count this one more time. So 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31. TR is 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45. So 45 is when the pedal begins. So this is still, I'm going to just note the pedal happening. 45 is the pedal arrival. It's 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52. So it goes to 52. So then so I'm gonna, without the elision measure, the P then is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 measures. 19, 20. It's 20, I'm going to put 21 in parentheses. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. This is 22 bars. Okay. And the before the pedal shows up, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, wait, hold on a second, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45. Yeah, I was like, okay. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 bars is this. That's 14. So in the recapitulation, I'm going to call it the expo and the recap here. So we go back to this, and it's here. So P, and this whole section, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So we get the first 11 bars. So there are 11 measures of this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And measure 12 is where the 12 is where the TR merge takes place. And so 12, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. And that'll do it. And that elides, so it's 20 bars. And 21 is where the elision is. This is where the rest of this music takes place. The last 14 bars. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 7, 8. There are 8 bars. And then there are 8 more. Okay, so what have we learned? So it's interesting to note that the primary theme in the exposition and the transition before we get to the pedal are about the same length. 21 measures and 22 measures overlapping. So if we take 20 plus 21, 20, and if we subtract 1 from this 22, we get 2 sections of 21 measures. And what Beethoven does in the recap, it's 20 bars plus an elision, is that the PTR section becomes half that length. So he does, in the same amount of time it took him to do P and the time it took him to do TR, he does them both in that time before the pedal. And so it's that whole thing of what was this? Bum ba ba dum ba ba da ba da ba da ba da ba dum bum 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 ba di di liam ba ba dum ba ba da ba da ba da ba da ba dum bum 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 be ba liam ba ba dum ba ba da ba da ba dum ba ba da ba da ba da ba da ba dum ba ba da ba da ba da ba da ba dum bum bum. Yeah, so it all fits. So it's the same amount of time, same amount of measures, but so he's combined them into one. And then this 14 bar thing that happened before, you know, is now only 8 measures, and it's divided in 2. And then so this is where the medial caesura is here, and then this is the fill this time. There's fill this time instead of a gap. It's 2 bars of and then a pickup there. So again, there's in the very first time in the exposition, this there wasn't an elision point here in the fill. Now there technically isn't one, but there are 2 measures of fill, and the fill stops on the tune, and there's a pickup. So they're eliding even more, they're overlapping even more. And so he's removed that moment of repose, the moment of rest. And so everything's constantly eliding like it was in the exposition and in the development, except for those couple of places. Now we're not even doing the elision point here in the recapitulation. He's going to keep driving forward. And he's also making everything much, much shorter. So he's already cut out 20 bars plus another 7. He's cut out 26 measures already in the music happening this time. So that's really fascinating. So it just goes to show you that there's a much more, there's even more forward drive in the recapitulation than there even was in the exposition because of these changes, especially with lots more loud dynamics and stuff. So, okay. So, that's as much as I was going to talk about this today. So, I've now made 30 of these things. There are a bunch of you watching right now. I'm kind of interested in that. But does anybody have any questions? But in the meantime, so I've been doing this I've done 30 of these things now. And, it takes a lot of time to do this. And I'm not getting lots of eyeballs, per se. But I've got other projects that I want to be working on that are hopefully going to be more public facing and get more eyeballs than me doing very intense analysis. So if you are interested, if you've actually sat and watched this in person or later, I'm the kind of person who watches old live streams, so from years ago. So if this thing that I've been doing for now 30 episodes, the Symphonizing project, drop me an email, send a message here on YouTube, and let me know what you think about how this has gone and if I should keep doing this or not. In the meantime, I'm going to take a hiatus from doing this because this eats up a lot of my day, to work on some other projects and to find another way to talk about symphonies that isn't going to bore the tears out of everybody. I happen to really like looking at music this detailed, and I find it very interesting and absorbing to do, and I learn a lot from doing it. I like thinking. I was explaining this to someone yesterday that I had. When I listen to music, I kind of listen to it like it's a Rubik's cube. It's like I kind of want to understand what's happening, and I'm advanced enough that I can do that a lot, no problem. I can you can let it just wash over you, but I'm interested in sort of thinking about it as an intellectual pursuit, and so I want to be able to figure things out. And when you can't do it in real time, you got to sit down with the score and really sit and piece it apart and make reductions and analyze the harmony and the form and all the various tools and methodologies available to figure out how is it that this is put together in a way that I can make sense of, and so that when I want to sit and make music or think about this music in other contexts, I have a way to do so that when I listen, I can hear the machine work, as it were. And that really interests me. But, randomly doing live streams 5 days a week on YouTube when not lots of people are free doesn't necessarily mean that I have, that this is something that's I need to find a way to make money, to be perfectly frank. So, anyway, we'll see what holds in the future. It's possible for me to come back to this at some point, but I'm not making any guarantees. But anyway, I'll leave the first movement of Beethoven's First Symphony incomplete going through, although I've gone very detailed all the way up until this point. But anyway, if you've watched any of this, go back and watch. If you're watching right now, there are literally hours and hours of this. I've done this 2 hour, there's plus 60 hours of me analyzing music now for free here on YouTube. So feel free to comment, watch, tell me what you think. In the meantime, I'm going to use this part of my day for the next while to work on other projects that regular people might be interested in, rather than just psychopaths like me. So I really appreciate the people who've commented and or have watched or paid any attention to the silly ravings I do here. I've hoped it's been somewhat educational for others. It's been very helpful for me as a person analyzing music, composing music, and just trying to make sense as I talk about it. So, in the end, I'm wrapping up here, and there won't be a live stream like this for a long time. If ever again, I'm not sure. It all depends. So, if you've watched up to here, let me know what you think through various means. And we'll see each other again in the future, maybe. That being said, this has been Music Corner Symphonizing episode 30. May there be a 31, who knows? Probably not. Anyway, thanks so much for watching. I'm David Colma. Have a beautiful day.